Alright, good times. So, alright, let's go ahead and get started. There was a lot of stuff that happened for the past 3 weeks. Whole bunch of craziness. Kind of first off, I guess the first article that was really posted was a review of Adventures of Van Helsing 3. None of us did the review, so we really aren't qualified to talk about it. But, long story short, Zach said, it's okay. Good way to close a trilogy. Still pretty average. Not exactly the best game. So if you're at all interested in a dungeon crawler, and you don't want to play Diablo, this might be the series to pick up. If you really don't care, it's totally passable. It's fine, but you know, Zach's glad they at least made it. Other big news, Deborah, you heard about this one. Resident Evil 2, the remake has been confirmed, which is really interesting
Yep.
because Resident Evil 2 is actually one of the best-selling uh, Resident Evil games, possibly the best Resident Evil game out there. So tell us a bit about it, Deborah.
On the 12th of August, that was I think last week. Capcom basically announced that they were serious about getting a remake out. They said that it really isn't they really aren't in a position to give us any more information about it, but it's in the early development stage, and
Mm-hmm.
I guess they'll give us more information when they have it all together.
So, is this going to be a remake or a remaster? Like, are there going to be any substance, like big changes to it, how it plays, or do we just know nothing?
We pretty much know nothing, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be a remake.
Mm-hmm.
Because I figure if it were a remaster, I don't think they would have made such a big deal out of it.
That's true. I'm going to be really interested to see like what changes they bring to a true remake. And I feel like we're getting a lot of true remakes instead of remasters coming out. Of course, Final Fantasy VII is still a big deal. Possibly Final Fantasy XII, which I guess that's a good segue into that story. That we had a bit of a tease of Final Fantasy XII as a remake, or possibly that one might be a remaster. We aren't entirely sure. David, you heard about this one. Take that one away.
Well, at the Distant Worlds, Final Fantasy has this big kind of tour they've been doing with, a big orchestra that just go around to different cities, play a shit ton of, wonderful Final Fantasy music because they have so much of it backlogged after umpteen million games. But the one of the creative minds behind 12 was actually at this one, and one of the things the composer talked about is, they said Final Fantasy 12 remake is possibly happening, or I think he actually said it is happening, but it's a composer, so it's not a definitive word from Square Enix, and it's a weird place to make that kind of announcement. But it's still, at the same time, he did just come out and say it. There was a little bit of more extra Final Fantasy 12 music going on that night. They had Final Fantasy 12 creative people in the crowd, so it makes people wonder if there's some merit to it. And I'm personally excited because I think that while the remake we need is 8, not 7, I'm willing to go with 12 because it's like my number 2 on the list there.
Alright, I'm going to tell you right now, Final Fantasy VIII played it,
Steve, just stop. Just
but
stop.
Oh boy, here come the Final
it's
Fantasy
such a
wars.
what the fuck game though. Like the way it ends, why? There's so many like why moments in there. Like why do they have a draw system? Like that entire thing just slowed the pace down of the game to a glacial crawl. And then just everything. Just so many just moments where like what the fuck happened at the end? We're like time merged and have super happy ending because now like oh look, Sephiroth was dead, but now he gets to just hang out with his friends in the field of flowers. Isn't that wonderful? And what's his face emo kid like gets the girl. Yay! Like and then like faces start melting.
Come on, man. You were an English major. You gotta look into things. This thing is like, it's a brilliant deconstruction of, the whole effects of child soldiers. We've got some really good things with, philosophy and psychology going on and themes in the back. I think there's just so much underlying greatness to 8's story, but no one wants to analyze it because as soon as Squall says whatever, everyone's just like, oh god, who's this douchebag?
I completely disagree. It at no point in time and actually properly analyzes child soldiers. All it does is say, "Hey, we're gonna take like these child soldiers, but they're just gonna have standard emo high school '90s drama shenanigans, and
Well, I mean,
that's it.
you've got these kids with mental problems because they have monsters hooked up to their brains, like destroying half of their memories, with no real adult role models. Because let's look at that school. It was run by an old dude who really has no priorities except, I hope no one has to kill my wife, and a giant yellow slug thing in the basement.
The yellow slug thing in the basement that you like flat out kill and no one addresses.
I think everyone was pretty
He's the
much okay
co-leader.
with that.
No, he's the co-leader of that place, and you go down to the basement, kill him. He goes into a cocoon because he's going to be a monster because he sucks, and everyone's just like, so what's for breakfast?
I mean, he's cool, but it's kind of like, finding out that your school has, like, two people. You've got, like, the principal and, like, who's this other dude? Like, co-principal? He's more like a really violent loan shark who happens to own the science wing.
But no one addresses it.
We were busy making the school fly.
That's come on. That's just no. Like you even go to the village where the guy came from, and they're just like, yeah, he deserved it. Whatever. Like don't even like. It just happens. It was there. It was just something that felt like, hey, we have a boss fight, and then never addressed it. It's just like, hey, here's a boss fight. It has no bearing on the plot, no bearing on anything else but that specific moment. That's kind of endemic throughout the entire games. They just have these moments that make no sense, no context, they don't build anything, and it's just like they could have done something really good with disc 1. Disc 1 was a really solid disc. Disc 2 is where it all started to fall apart, and disc 3 is where full entropy happened, and it just became this big mass of chaos. And it ended making no sense, no true point, and it just...
It sets up a stable time loop.
With melting faces.
There's like one melting face.
And
Maybe.
that's like one melting face too many.
Come on, I mean, I think that, melting faces is pretty much essential for things. Without melting faces, we wouldn't have had Raiders of the Lost Ark.
That is true, but there was melting faces mixed with exploding faces, and the melting faces were very explicitly bad, whereas in 8 it was just like, let's have an acid trip.
Are you saying that we don't condone exploring, the world through hallucinogenics?
I mean, I'm not going to say that substances weren't involved with the very last few hours of that game for me, but I will say I feel like it just so many ways. Final Fantasy VIII is not that strong of a game to me. Like so many avenues left unexplored, and you have this battle system with the draw mechanic that serves no other purpose but to draw battles on longer than they ever really need to be, because if you want to get the best stats, you have to find that one monster that has that one stat, and then just grind that monster until 3 characters say that they're full of whatever the freaking magic spell you just stole from it was, and then you can kill it. And that can last like 20 minutes. You move on to the next guy who has a different spell, and you just keep doing that over and over and over until eventually you either like just give up, or you finally have all the stats you want.
I liked the draw system, but hang on. Let's just go back to FF12 for a second, because I can do this for like 3 podcasts.
I feel like we should just have one podcast where we sit down and argue the merits of Final Fantasy VIII.
And if anything, with those points, don't you never? No, we're going to 12. We're going to 12.
All right, we're going to 12.
Like, I don't think they'll give us a full. What, Debbie?
I just said, oh boy.
Oh, okay. I don't think we'll get a full remake of 12. I think it's probably going to be just like they did for 10, and we're going to get, just a one nice high-def remaster. But, I mean, I really think 12 is another one of those games that got really underappreciated because it broke away from the formula a little bit.
I will agree. I think 12 is very underrated in so many regards. I love the open world system. I was actually pretty okay with the licensing system. I liked what they did with that. I really liked how they were kind of taking a MMO concept and idea for combat and turning that into a really interesting single player mechanic with party management.
And I mean, people give Final Fantasy XII so much hell for that combat system. Then they turn around and look at games like Dragon Age, and they're like, "Oh yes, we absolutely love the combat system. It's amazing. It's the same fucking combat system from 12."
I'd almost argue that 12 is better than Dragon Age Inquisition, because at least
Oh yeah.
12, I knew what they were doing. Dragon Age Inquisition, they're just like, hey, look, there's a trap. I'm going to run into it. And
I mean,
that's the exact voice they make.
we had a great combat system. I thought the Gambit system was great because you can still play it like a traditional Final Fantasy, selecting every single icon, tactic
Hmm.
that you're doing. But I
Yeah.
mean, at the same time, I can also just tell my party, "Hey, do this for me." It's the first Final Fantasy where I don't have to like sit the controller down and mash X over and over with my toe while I eat a sandwich. I can just, you know, march them through a field and they just kill the shit out of cats and boars.
The PlayStation 2 used to have one of those controllers that was like nothing but a thumbstick and like, the just the X button, Y button and stuff. I felt like I could play most RPGs just with that. Like,
Probably.
yeah. And Dr. Phil, by the way, in comments is saying that 12 is one of his favorites, and he actually apparently just found his PS2 memory card, and he's about to tackle it again. So go for it, dude. I never got to finish the game because my roommate in college fucking destroyed my disc, and coincidentally my PlayStation 2 as well, which
Well,
just great moment of sadness for me.
if you're gonna go try and tackle it again, maybe on stream or something, there's the international Zodiac job system version of the game that
Okay.
I played and I kind of really like because every class you now have to select like a class for each person. Out of like, there's 12 different classes, one for each Zodiac sign, except for that weird snake one we're all never able to decide if it is one or isn't one. But each class has its own license grid. And it also sets it up so every single Esper, there's spots on the license grids you can't get to unless you use that Esper to get to them.
So is this on the PlayStation, or is this like through a PlayStation 2 emulator?
At the time, yeah, I did have to play that through an emulator.
Mm-hmm.
So, there is that kind of issue.
If they do a remaster, I hope it's that kind of system because that sounds awesome.
I mean, when they remastered 10 and 10.2, I don't know, I don't have 10 and 10.2, but I think they remastered the international versions, didn't they? Someone in the chat?
I want to say yes.
Where's the doctor? He's got a PhD or an MD or something.
Yeah. I think I'm trying to remember, because I was playing 10 for a while. I think it was the international edition. But I mean, they're just, hey, Alex, how's it going? But no, honestly, I feel like 12 just kind of got shafted by critics. Well, not really critics. Critics adored it. I think fans just didn't know what to make of it because it's not that standard Final Fantasy fare. It doesn't have that forced romance in it. And you really aren't. I've heard very good arguments that you aren't playing the main character. Like, Vaughn isn't the main character in Final Fantasy 12. It's Balthazar, I think it is.
Balthier.
Balthier. It's Balthier who's
It
really
really
the main
kind of
character.
bounces, and I think that's one of the great things about 12 is it. Deb?
Deb,
Yes.
what are you doing?
Nothing. Hold on 1 second.
There we go.
Okay.
What were you saying, Dave?
With 12, I think one of the great things about it is a lot of people didn't give it a chance, and it's very much like 6. You don't really know who the main character is and what's really going on with it, because it starts and like Vaughn's the main character and he kind of sets things up, then suddenly Ash is the main character and she's going forth and doing things, and by the end of the game we've swung head on into Balthier as the main character.
Mm-hmm.
And Bosch has his leading man moments in between everything, so I mean every character is essential, whereas I mean Final Fantasy VII, hell, you can miss 2 party members, or Final Fantasy IX, Quino really wasn't doing much. Final Fantasy VIII, I think we all could have lived without Irvine. I
Yeah.
liked Irvine.
I didn't like Squall, so I feel like we could have had that game without him.
I don't have a webcam, but I assume you're trying to stare me down through the monitor.
Yes.
The point we should take away from this is a really good Final Fantasy is possibly getting remade, so the rest of us will have something to play when everyone else is going back over 7 and playing it and going, wait, this isn't how I remember. Do I really have to grind all this materia again? Fucking
Well,
rose-tinted glasses.
hopefully they're gonna fix that. And I found it funny that they were talking to one of the developers behind the Final Fantasy VII remake, and they asked about that cross-addressing scene, whether to be in there, and he said yes. And I'm fairly certain they released a screenshot of what it's going to look like. And I found that to be hilarious.
The only thing from 7 I really, really stuck out to me that I thought was great is if you somehow set it up so when Squall goes on the date, you can end up going out with Barrett.
Yes.
So in my
Yes.
mind, I like to think that he just went up there and fucked Barrett on top of the Ferris wheel.
Yeah, that's just ba-bow, ba-ba-ba-bow. Shelly Shaska says that apparently Final Fantasy lost her after 10-2. And they just haven't given them a chance since, which, I mean, I can understand 10-2, just,
There's some things
Eh.
we don't talk about in the Final Fantasy franchise.
yeah. But it's, I think it'll be actually, I feel like 12 was very good. 13, I just could not get into. I heard the sequels to 13 were better, but just could not. Sorry, Shelly. I could just not get into 13 at all. And apparently Shelly Shaska's a dude, so my bad, bruh. 15, I think, looks really interesting.
I'm looking forward to 15, but just, playing like am trying to be somewhat professional. We can't gush on Final Fantasy forever.
Yeah. Though, here's the question I put to you guys. Kingdom Hearts, are they Final Fantasy games?
They're Kingdom Hearts games.
Right. But are they also...
They stand apart, I would say. They have the characters that cross over, but I still think they stand apart as themselves as Kingdom Hearts.
I mean, I don't also think they're Winnie the Pooh games. They're Kingdom Hearts games.
This is true, but I feel like if you look at the gameplay footage for Final Fantasy 15, to me a lot of the combat actually seems reminiscent of Kingdom Hearts, honestly. Though that could just be me projecting.
A little bit, yeah. They said that that's kind of one of the motivations they did look at was some of the Kingdom Hearts combat.
Yeah, and Alex, we are very professional. God damn it. Continue.
Praise legal.
Alright, so let's move on to the next story. We've gushed enough about Final Fantasy and done arguments and everything else. So, next subject. This was written by Sam. Got a Dark Souls 3 gameplay trailer from Gamescom, which, I mean, it's cool. Final Fantasy Dark Souls 3, I don't know, whereas we talked a lot about Final Fantasy. Dark Souls 3 is coming. Looks ballin'. Did you guys get to see the trailer?
I forgot how loud it is when you start it up.
Yeah, no, it is loud as balls.
I have seen the trailer and I think looks good, but at the same time I thought Dark Souls 2 looked really good when it, first had trailers and stuff. And I mean, I don't think I have any optimism left in me for gaming. I look at everything very cynically until the reviews come out a week after the game releases.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much what happens when you start writing about games. Is become a cynical asshole about them.
I was already
Yeah,
a cynical
Sacrificial
asshole.
Yoshi has an idea.
Oh, does he now? What is this idea? Show the trailers to the games before I talk about them on stream. Dude, I can't.
Have we ever figured out a way to do that?
No, I never figured out like a good, solid way to do that. I mean, it's a good idea. I can link you guys to the stories as we talk about them. That's the thing I can do.
What do you use, OBS or XSplit?
I use OBS.
You can't just You can't just shift the source from the webcam over to like a YouTube window or something?
Sort of, but that doesn't look good.
Oh, well.
Yoshi, we do have an outline before we start these, goddammit, and that's like, here's these stories. The end. But part of it is like, it's hard to do it and make it look good, especially if what I'm doing is I'm like exporting this quickly to YouTube and then downloading it from there. Monitor capture gives me terrible frame rates, and
Just link it in chat.
yeah.
I mean, there's really not that much to talk about from the trailer. We've got, there's
Smog's
narrators.
armor, there's like creepy demon things, a dragon, Dark Souls shit. That's what they do. Alright. Moving on though, because, don't feel like talking too much about that since neither of us wrote about it. That was Sam's story. We have the new World of Warcraft Legion.
I was incredibly excited when I first saw that trailer.
Yes, because we finally
Like,
get...
compared to the bombshell that was freaking Warlords of Draenor, this is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, we get to see the goat.
Yes, David?
A bomb is bad. A bombshell is good. Just correcting you. Got to nitpick with you for a second.
Okay, well, why don't you help me out, seeing as I stole this article from you?
That is true. I was in the middle of writing it, and I said, Deb, I'm writing about this article, and she said, I'm publishing this article.
Damn, son, you gotta write faster. Also,
What? I wasn't working that week. I woke up late.
God, you slow bastard.
Go ahead, Debbie. Continue.
Alright, so Gamescom in Germany, they revealed the trailer about World of Warcraft Legion. Basically what's happening is the Burning Legion is coming back to some extent. I'm not entirely sure exactly how this is going to be brought about, but we do know that there's going to be an actual Demon Hunter class, and that they're actually serious about it this time. It's not actually an April Fool's joke this time.
I still want to see the Bard class from that one April Fool's Day joke.
Would have been great.
Dude, they had like a fake Guitar Hero style loot. Like, I thought the entire concept behind it was fucking just amazing, just super innovative. And they're like, nah, it's a joke. Would have actually got me to play. But continue.
But oh, sorry.
No, it's like
But
continue.
other
Go.
than that, we've got the return of Dalaran as the main player hub, and I think that's kind of a throwback to the expansion I didn't personally play, but it's going to make a lot of older people happy. There's also... Yes, David?
Oh no, that's really all I feel about that is. I don't have a sentence. I just have a groan.
I don't know if that was you like trying to squeeze out a really hard deuce, or like if you just touched something really icky. What was that sound
that's his
again?
That's his I really want to bitch sound, but I don't really have anything to say about it sound.
Oh, no. I've bitched enough about Final Fantasy VIII with Steven. I can't bitch about Legion 2. This is your time.
No, you please bitch.
No, you can bitch. You're allowed to. I stole your article, remember?
Go ahead, David. Let it out.
I think if everything that they talked about makes it into the game, it'll be really neat and really good. But when has that happened in the history of fucking World of Warcraft?
Yeah, but Ashbringer and Doombringer as artifact weapons.
Which, really, just all of a sudden... I mean, I don't know if it's just people just can kind of tell the whole shift in management or, in the creative team as we went from, the NPCs were the heroes in, like, the original game and the first 3 expansions. And then from like Mists of Pandaria up, it's about you. You get this legendary thing. You lead the army. Now you wield the legendary weapons. And just, okay, so you're going to take the weapon from one of the big paladin dudes and just, oh yeah, now that you know all these random PC characters are going to be wielding it. So what, are you just like writing off one of your main dudes? Okay. And we're going to take the main weapon from this guy, and now you guys are going to have it instead. So this guy's losing. You can't come up with a justifiable reason for why suddenly like half of the people that are super important NPCs in this world just suddenly decided, you know what? I've carried this blade with me through battle after battle and war after war with me for like umpteen million years, and it's got a deadly, legacy, and there's history, and yada yada yada. You know what? It's your time to use this weapon now. Like, what's the fucking point of Doomhammer? That's not a shaman weapon. It's an orc weapon. But let's just give it to random shamans. It makes no sense for, this weapon forged by orcs and used by orcs for generation after generation after generation after generation. And now, that dwarf shall wield this weapon. Don't know him. Never seen him before in my life. Think he did something important in the last expansion because some dude in Texas was playing as him. Don't really know, but here, you take this weapon now, son.
Nerd! All right, I'm done.
I know a lot about the World of Warcraft lore just because when I first got into the game, I was just like, I have no idea what's going on, and I don't know what I'm doing here. So someone's like, here, just read shit on this wiki. And I was just like, okay. And at the time, this was when I was in high school, and I was in like a computer class, which pretty much any computer class in high school is like 10 minutes of work, an hour of you doing like piss or whatever on the internet.
Yeah, that
So
sounds
I
about
just
right.
between
you never-
that,
You never played the Warcraft games before this? You were just like, I'm just gonna hop into World of Warcraft.
I was actually accosted by like 4 friends talking about the first expansion of the game, and I'm like, what is this damn thing? And they were like, dude, just play the game with us. I don't have the game. It's just like, just play the game. I'm like, I don't think, like, we just got internet at my house that like isn't dial-up, and we only have one computer. I doubt that I'm even gonna get, like, a friend like took my phone and like called my mom. It was just like, hi, is this David's mother? Can you please like spend such and such money, or let David get this game so he can play online with his friends? And she was just like, yeah, sure, that's no problem. And I'm sitting there like, I can't get that woman to buy me a Snicker bar.
It's like your mom like being the one to buy you crack.
My mother started my terrible MMO drug habit. Yes. And then from there, like, I just played with friends and have been kind of like off and on, and just like, I looked at the lore and shit when it comes up because like, oh, this book is actually kind of well written. But then it seems like every time there it was like decent lore, everything from like the third Cataclysm, whichever expansion that was, I think 3. Everything after that has just been like developers lining up to take a massive shit stain over their game franchise.
And yet they still rake in the money. So are they shitting on the franchise, or are they just making it better?
They're shitting on it.
Or better?
They're shitting on it.
Or is it
Either
better?
way, I'm curious as to how they're going to pull this new expansion off. Like, very curious.
Yeah, no, that's going to be actually really interesting how they decide to do that. I'm interested to see what happens.
And hopefully it'll be good enough for us to forget that Warlords of Draenor ever happened.
Everyone's happy Warlords. Warlords of Draenor is the best. It's the best. It's number 1.
It's savage. It's so savage. It's a savage game on a savage world where we cut out all of our savage content, and doing one of the fucking savage zones you can still see on the savage map.
Savagely.
You guys are a little bit salty about that, and it's delightful.
I'm just still trying to figure out how we went from, yeah, we've got these cities planned, you'll put your garrisons in any zone, it's going to be so amazing, and then, like, you blew the whole storyline in the first 20 minutes of the expansion. Just, like, everything you built up to, talking about, there's a war coming, we have to fight it off, it's completely done 20 minutes into the expansion before you level up.
The entire war?
Basically, and then the rest of it is just like, they don't feel like a threat through the entire thing. It's like, oh, hey, there's still some guys over there, let's kill them. What are we going to do for the first dungeon? Are we going to go fight those guys? Are we going to figure out about the time travel problem? What are we going to do? There's some ogres, and they're doing some stuff, and we're going to stop them. Where did the ogres come from? I didn't even see them while they were questing. Shut up. It's ogre killing time.
Yep. I never played World of Warcraft, so I don't even know. Don't even know.
Sorry, I'm done. I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to stop.
All right. Well, let's go
It's
ahead.
okay, David. Your bitching is appreciated.
All right. Let's go ahead and move on to a different topic then. The last big article, and this one's actually really controversial, was Why Aren't You a PC Gamer? Written by David, because apparently he likes to watch the world burn.
I just said I was done talking. Damn it.
Yeah, no, you aren't done talking, because you wrote this article. You get to now justify it.
413 shares. I think that's her highest.
I think I broke 500 with something. But
Yep, continue.
First, I will say I've kind of got this idea in mind for, like 3 articles kind of on this subject. But, figured I'd start with the one I am kind of closest to. So, why aren't people PC gamers? I really do want to know, because I'm like, I think, hang on, let's just Google it right now. How many people play on PC? Console versus, okay, let's go to that second link with population growth rates. Well, these are all stats. There's no charts. I was looking for charts, so fuck it. Okay, just the average age of a gamer has gotten older. I think it's what, like 30, mid-30s now is the average age of a gamer?
Sure, let's go with that.
20s?
Late 20s, early 30s.
Late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah, why not?
Okay. And pretty much everything involves a computer nowadays. So, I mean, you have to get a computer anyway. So, we've got PC gaming, where we can play so many more games. You can customize, the rig however you want. You can do so many other things with it. Whereas, I go out and I spend a console. What's the cost of like a PS4 now? Like $400?
Give or take.
Okay. I get it, and it sits over there, plays PS4 games. I don't think it's backwards compatible, so I have to rebuy those games if I want to play them again on that console, or go get my PS3 and plug it back in. To which, now I've got 2 Sony consoles sitting up there. And, it just kind of feels awkward when I have 2 different Blu-ray players glorified up there, because there's only like 8 games on each console I ever seem to buy.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's all it does, is it plays games, and then it plays like Blu-rays and DVDs, and it's got a really shitty internet browser built into it, and like 90% of the people I know use it for Netflix. So I'm just... I mean, it just seems to me like PC gaming with a higher age of, gamers going in, who usually will have more disposable income, and with how easy it is for people to build their own PC now, where they don't have to go through a site like Dell or HP, you can just go online. There's 80,000 different places that say, you can get these parts, we'll even budget it together for you and make sure it's all compatible, and then you can buy it. Putting it together is as easy as knowing how to put Phillips head screws into things and going, that's not plugged in, that's a spot where it looks like that plug should fit, I should put that there. It's just, it makes more sense to me. And I mean, there's some console exclusive things, yeah, that are really neat, but everything also seems to everything eventually, in some form or another, does come to PC. Maybe it's a port 2 weeks later, maybe it's a port 2 years later like Grand Theft Auto, or maybe it's emulation and piracy 3 or 4 years later. But I mean, everything eventually gets on the PC.
This is true, but in contention with consoles, yes, the graphics generally aren't as good, but you also have to keep in mind the graphics on the console are going to continue to get better on that console in a way that won't work if you have a PC that you aren't consistently upgrading. So years down the line, when the console's at the end of its cycle, it looks infinitely better than it did at the beginning of its cycle.
I don't know about infinitely better.
It looks a lot better. Compare PlayStation 1 beginning to PlayStation 1 end, or PlayStation 2 beginning to PlayStation 2 end. Like, compare the graphics Final Fantasy X to Final Fantasy 12.
See, the PS2 era and like 7th generation consoles, I think that's where we saw kind of the biggest change there, from graphics at the beginning of a console's lifespan to graphics at the very end. There was a lot of improvement that we pushed out of that. But I mean,
Or
early PS3 games to late PS3 games, I mean,
well,
some upgrades.
consider Xbox 360 even. The very earliest games on that, like Perfect Dark Zero, and I think there was was Halo 3 the first Halo game on the 360?
Yes.
Yeah, compare that one to even ODST, and you'll see huge graphic improvements. So I mean, that is the thing you have to consider, is that the upgrade cost for a console is much lower because, you know, in the same years that the consoles are live, I'll probably have bought 2 graphics cards, and that's arguably an extra $100 each if I'm selling my old graphics card at the same time.
Oh no, the upfront cost of a console is much easier, and the accessibility of a console is much greater. I think, I mean, really, I think like the best comparison I can come up with, and it's kind of sad because I'm using a computer versus computer comparison here, but it's kind of like, you know, the PC versus consoles is like PC versus Mac,
Yeah.
which, you know, one looks sleek, plugs in, get it to run, updates when it needs to be up. Actually, I don't know. I've never owned a Mac. I've used Macs, and that's just never really been my thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a customization junkie,
Mm-hmm.
so I absolutely love that the PC lets me do whatever I want to it. I can do it for, you know, anything else. But there's also the multitasking. So, I mean, if you don't have a PC, to which, I assume you're Amish.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to, you know, get a system, you can get one that will do all these things. To where if you're gaming and then you get a console, odds are in your life you're still going to need a PC.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there's gaming laptops. You can build smaller, you know, gaming PCs for cheap that, you know, do things and you can still run your programs on it. Or you can go and step away from, you know, the usual kind of big PC things, and you can build a PC to just play the games that you want to play for really cheap. Like, I think Minecraft runs on Linux now, I think. So you can get an operating system that doesn't cost anything. I mean, people can play Minecraft on like a Raspberry Pi. That's what, $40? $40, and you've got a little computer that you can hook up a $30 external hard drive to and put all your movies and stuff on it and turn it into a little media center that also plays 7 or 8 games. Great thing for the kids.
Yeah. I mean, well, apparently you're making Pop Shop angry because you made a list with one item, or someone did. And let's see, casuals use laptops and tablets now. God, see, even this discussion right now, we're like getting people just going crazy in this chat. What you posted has 200 comments on Facebook, and like every day I'm just checking on armgamer.com, like, oh hey, more comments, more comments, more comments. Like, you just wanted to watch people fight, didn't you?
You think that's great? Wait till tomorrow when I publish the complete opposite article, guys, from the console gamer's point of view.
Oh boy.
Then we'll see head spin.
Yes. Yes,
I've actually,
indeed.
you can go in on the site, and I think I'm like 800 words into it, or 700 words. No, I think it's less than that, like 600.
Yeah.
But I've just got to get pictures and do some editing.
I look forward to seeing this happen. It will be hilarious. Because people will be like, yeah, well, you disagree with yourself. And I feel like that's the entire point of the article.
I do that every time I try to figure out what's for dinner.
Yeah.
I mean, inevitably, I'm always there to narrow it down to, do we want wings or do we want pizza? But then, the struggle.
I recently discovered that the bar I'm a regular at has more than just wings and pizza.
The what?
Bar I'm a regular at.
Oh.
I assume I've been there for years, and all I've ever had there is wings and pizza. And finally, I sat down the other day. I was like, do they have other things? And apparently, they do. They have like really good pierogies.
There are 2 bars I would say would have considered myself kind of a regular at, And one of them was the bar I went to in college, to which the only thing I really knew it had is, yeah, you guys have potato soup, and it's really awesome because you're an Irish pub. And then there's a bar I go to now that just has really kind of quirky food. It's got like duck tacos and like gourmet truffle tater tots and things of that nature.
All right, we're getting off topic though. So, I will say, I enjoyed the article. I really thought that what you wrote was just really funny and hilarious to read, despite the fact that we already have that almost exact same article on the website, thanks to Drew.
Sorry, Drew.
Though the very last line, just that killed it for me. So why aren't you a PC gamer? Oh, you like Apple products. You could have saved me a lot of time at the start and just said that, you monster. And as someone who hates Apple, yeah, people who own apples are monsters. I agree.
I absolutely love paying $600 more for a product that costs $200 less.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's God, it bothers. I actually own the domain appleistheworst.com. I have yet to find a suitable use for it, but I own the domain. I used to have to work on an Apple at my old job, and it just frustrated the ever-loving hell out of me. So I was like, there we go. That's it.
I've
That's what
never been proud to
that's
be
what I'm
one of
calling
your
it.
employees.
Yes. I would never thrust an apple upon my employees ever. That's just abuse.
I mean, I
But
will say to everyone, is, since I do have people here, and I figure it would be kind of irresponsible for me to just kind of just let that out there. I see the advantages on both sides. I'm not completely biased one way or another. I support PC gaming more than console gaming, and I just I'm gonna leave it there.
yeah, yeah.
Go find Drew, because we also need someone to talk hardware. Because hey, maybe there's someone in the chat. I've been looking, and I've seen one or two things, but I need to get a new monitor for my computer because this one kind of died, and I have it working again, but like the bottom right corner of it is kind of black and faded and just kind of flickers back and forth. So someone find me a really good monitor for under like $200. I'm talking like at least 1440.
Did you confirm that it wasn't the cable?
I did confirm that it was not the cable. I switched cables around, and
Did you
just to check.
Did you try turning it off and on again?
I turned it off and on again when it had the black thing in the corner, and that's what caused it to die the first time.
Did you try punching it?
Punch it in the face.
Actually, what returned it to its workable state.
Sweet.
So, I mean, I have tried the Arthur Fonzarelli School of PC Repair, but I'm still worried it's not a long-term solution.
Karma wants to know how much you want that monitor for, because he might have an idea.
Interesting.
What's your price range?
I'm looking. It depends on the monitor. I mean, give me specs, and I can tell you what I want to pay for it.
He's saying he can link to it, and it's under 200.
Just throw the link in chat, and then I'm not actually in the Twitch chat right now, so can you throw that link into our chat?
Yep. Oh, by the way, Deborah, Pop Shop says that whoever wrote the WoW Legion article, they have been working on Legion for a long time, most likely longer than WOD or MOP, whichever ones those are. World of Darkness or a cleaning.
Although it kind of feels like the Legion is just something they pull out of their asses.
No, they've been building up story-wise to Legion. But Steve,
yes,
just take $20, or just go get the starter version of the game,
Why?
download it, and join the online sensation.
It's not a sensation.
Even Butters has played this game, Steve. Why haven't you?
Because I don't trust Butters.
David, stop being a Jehovah's Witness for WoW.
Oh, no, I'm trying to think of someone who just, supports something but at the same time really hates it, and, I don't know. They're like a religious... Is there someone who mourns their faith? All I'm coming up with, is Catholicism, but it's okay. I'm allowed to say that.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Yeah. Apparently, they've been hinting at it since the Mop games days. What is Mop?
Mop
Mists of
is Mists
Pandaria.
of Pandaria, the 4th expansion.
Oh, right.
Legion will be the 7th expansion.
It's the one where you can play as a
No,
panda.
6th.
Because it wasn't racist at all to have pandas represent Chinese people.
5.
Lol, 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 lol.
I mean, we've got trolls being Jamaicans. I think we're all kind of used to it at this point.
Misa Jar Jar Binks.
Oh, it's not a bad monitor.
Alright, so I feel like we've talked long enough. I think we're at the end though. You know, I do kind of want to touch on the article I posted today, because I don't know if you guys saw that video.
The chat roulette shooter?
The chat roulette one. Yeah. That one was super, super cool. Like, holy crap, I would have thought of that.
I thought it
You
was
are
neat.
not invisible, Hawkburn. You are just purple in my chat.
I thought it was neat, but I only watched like 2 minutes in because I wouldn't be able to do something like that. It would frustrate me because someone was like, "Can you jump up there?" And it's just like, I'm a real person. No, I can't jump up there. I have a crowbar. What am I going to do? Poke the body. Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
It's like when I watch streams of people constantly dying in Mario Brothers, and I'm just like, what are you doing? All you have to do is jump. This is why Mario Maker streams will frustrate me to no end.
Yeah, no, some of those people were just like, they had no idea what to do. Then you could see the real gamers in the crowd who were like, all right, go check in that well. Like, oh, it's not a well, it's a tomb. Oh, hey, I now have more items. You could see the people who like had that old school gaming idea in their mind. Were like, all right, let's go take the more circuitous route, because that's where we're gonna find all the things that'll be useful to us. And those are the people who won, I guess you could call it. And yeah, no, it was a really, really fun video, and I thought they did a really good job, even just in level design and concept and theory behind it. And it was so cool. I want them to do more.
I am sharing that in our Hangout chat because I
Yes.
think it's great. Buy now for $59.99 and get free beta access.
Yes.
I feel like
yes.
this is what most games will be.
Support the Kickstarter. Alright, so I think that's enough for today. So let's wrap this up. I'm Steven from the Arm Gamer. This was What's Brewing, where we sit down, it's a weekly Vader podcast, and we talk about all the news for the week, or in this case, like 3 weeks worth of articles and stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed. With me in this call is our regular writer, David. David, say a tag or something.
PC Master Race.
Alright, Flame War on. Deborah. She's our Arm Gamer editor. She's the one who's responsible for getting all the articles up in a timely fashion and making them look good, and she's fantastic at it. Deborah, say a goodbye tag or something.
Demons are coming.
Yes. Demons are coming.
Not Winter?
Yes. And of course, I'm Stephen Crane. I'm the owner. So hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys, I think, next week. I think I might be able to get this on 2 weeks in a row for the first time in like a month. So hope you guys enjoyed. I'll be on. Follow us on Twitch, twitch.tv/armgamer, YouTube, youtube.com/armgamer. You can check us out on our website, armgamer.com, or our big thing is Facebook. Check us out on facebook.com/armedgamer, because we can, and we love you guys, and I know you guys are entertained by this, or at least I hope you are, because some of you have stuck around and you've been talking a lot. Thank you guys so much for being active in chat. I'll see you guys next week. Peace out. I think that went well.
Yep.
Good job.
Alright. Yep, good times. I'm going to roll out because I got things that should probably get done. Thank you guys for calling in.
I've had Chinese food that's